Welcome to Duke Devil 95. My name is Brad Burnett, and over the weekend, I got to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yeah, actually got to see it twice, somehow. Yeah, let's talk a bit about this movie.
Good morning, Mr. Phelps. The man you're looking at is Walter Townsend.
Wait a minute, that ain't right. Go back, fix that.
Good evening, Mr. Hunt. The anarchist Solomon Lane. Since you captured him...
There we go, now that's better. All right, let's talk about the movie. You know, it's hard to believe the first Mission Impossible movie premiered 27 years ago now. Overall, I'd say I've enjoyed the most of the series. Just one or two, movies weren't so good. Mission Impossible 2, yikes. At the same time, but for the fact that Doug Ray Scott had to go back for reshoots, we would not have gotten Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That all being said, like I say, I do like the Mission Impossible movies. I kind of see them as American James Bond, with Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise's character, playing the lead role. Mission Impossible, of course, dates back to the 60s, as the team doing the impossible missions, the Impossible Mission Force, the tasks, the missions that no one else could accomplish, using a variety of tools, a variety of technologies, to accomplish whatever the mission was. Back in the day, it was maybe steal some plans, duplicate a spy, something like that. And we got the same thing today, pretty much. It's very formulaic, but overall, it works for the theater. One of the things I've always found, though, is these movies tend to be convoluted. There's a lot of exposition involved to get to the point. And I know that's partially because they're trying misdirect and everything. But it is always, narrative laden, exposition laden to get to the point of this is what we're trying to do. This one, it really felt that way. One of the things I have to point out in this movie, and first off, let me say, I like the movie. I did like the movie. But there's a lot of exposition in this case. The whole story starts out involving a rogue AI, which I guess is, the theme du jour today. Rogue AI is taking control. It starts off by this rogue AI convincing a Russian sub to destroy itself. And there's this key. It's on the necks of two of the Russian sailors. This key is able to control the rogue AI, which syncs with the sub. So Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, is assigned the task, should he choose to accept it.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to acquire the key and deliver it to us.
Of retrieving this key. And the key is in two parts. It's a cruciform key is what they call it, cross key. So two pieces kind of fit together to form a cross. He finds out that one of the parts of the key is held by Ilsa Faust, who's played by Rebecca Ferguson, from, I believe it was the last movie and the one before, a rogue MI6 agent who's become his ally and friend. Ethan Hunt gathers his team, Simon Pegg playing Reggie Dunn, and Ving Rhames playing Luther Stickle. So this is now Ethan's team, and they're going after the key. And, along the way, we see certain things. Now the rogue AI is referred to as the entity throughout this. And the entity is able to infiltrate all sorts of computer systems. The AI, the entity, has become sentient. So all the powers on the planet want to control the AI. And they think this key is how they're going to do it. If you get the key, you control the AI. So now this means Ethan Hunt is on a mission that everyone wants to stop him, and they want to get the key themselves. Along the way, we find out that one of the people trying to get the key is a guy named Gabriel, who apparently has ties to Ethan in the past. This is Gabriel's played by Isai Morales, who does a actually pretty good job of playing a menacing character. And the ties to Ethan past is interesting because, again, all the Mission Impossible movies have been very standalone. It's like a very loose mythology, kind of the same way that James Bond is. We know James Bond is orphaned as a child and raised and eventually goes into the British Navy, becomes a Secret Service agent for MI6. He gets married, his wife gets killed. At least that's the traditional one. We're not talking whatever they did with Daniel Craig in Skyfall. That's the James Bond character. So we sort of have the same thing with Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt is recruited into the Impossible Mission Force because that's his choice, meaning it's implied that he either had to do that or go do something else. So, this loose mythology we have for the Impossible Mission Force is they're kind of a shadowy rogue element that no one in the government talks about. Some people know it exists, some people don't. Some people go, IMF, that must mean the International Monetary Fund. No, that ain't right.
World Bank. No, that's the International Monetary Fund. Impossible Mission Force.
Regardless, this is the story we're set. Bottom line, you don't really need to know the mythology because it's generally a good action movie. That's one of the best things about these movies. You don't need to rely on mythology. If you look at the MCU today, you really need to be reliant on the history of what has come in the movies and sometimes the television shows. This one, you really don't. So you get to enjoy a good action flick. And that's overall what this is. This is a good action flick. There are really good action sequences. You don't get the sense that CGI is heavily involved. We all, of course, know that Tom Cruise has a penchant for doing ridiculous stunts. And yeah, he absolutely does one here. You got to go see it. I mean, we've seen it on the TV, but you should see it in the theater just to see how it works. And there's some good chase sequences. They got some good fight sequences. But you know what? Here's the thing. Overall, this is a 2-hour, 45-minute movie.
A long time.
And I know I've said it before. These movies are becoming way too long. It becomes difficult to watch it. And at some point, that did for me. I think you look back in the original Mission Impossible movie, and it was just about 2 hours long. We're going now on 3 hours long. I mean, this movie costs $300 million, so I guess that's $100 million an hour? Yikes, that's pretty expensive.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
But like I say, it's a good movie. It's just a little long, and it draws out of time. I think it would benefit from some clipping, some good editing, just to get the pace better. The story that's being told is good. And this is a cliffhanger because it's part 1 of 2. I almost feel like if they have the 2 movies together, if it's like 6 hours, you could divide it into a really good series on Amazon or Netflix. I mean, I guess they're willing to spend $500 million on series these days. So what the hell? Yeah, go for it. Sure. Why the hell not?
Hell, it's only money, right, folks?
The other thing to like about this movie is the acting. We all know who Tom Cruise is, but he's good at the character. He delivers on screen. He gives a good portrayal of Ethan Hunt. His supporting characters, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, they've played their characters before. They're really good. Rebecca Ferguson is back as Ilsa Faust. As I said before, she's good for what she does. Now we have a new character introduced. Grace, played by Haley Atwell, who's just a beautiful, lovely woman. And I like her character. I really like her character. She's basically a thief who gets drawn into this. She eventually gets recruited to steal the key by Vanessa Kirby's character, whose name, honestly, I kind of forgot. She's the White Widow from the previous movie. And she's actually the daughter of Max, who was our weapons dealer, Vanessa Redgrave Max, in the first movie. So this all ties together. But again, it's very convoluted and everything. It takes a lot to sort it out. I feel like I'm really being negative about it, but it is a good movie. And I really think it's good to watch in a theater. There are a lot of movies that come out these days that are just not good to watch in the theater. You have to prepare yourself. This is a long movie. Now, if I were to watch this at home in a completely hypothetical circumstance, which, hypothetical circumstance, I would maybe take a break about an hour into the movie shortly after the chase scene in Rome. Just take a pause, hypothetically, and go do something like laundry and come back and watch the rest of the movie, hypothetically. Uh, just saying. Now, I know I've said this movie is exposition heavy, but at the same time, I actually thought some of the action sequences were a little too drawn out. The chase in Rome is good, but it's overly long. At one point, Ethan Hunt and Grace get into this IMF safe car, which is a tiny little Fiat, which somehow is super powered and goes off. And if you can't control it, drifts like crazy vehicle out of Tokyo Drift. They can barely control it. It's just overpowered and just spinning all over the place during the chase sequence. It's a little ridiculous at times. At one point, they're actually going down the Spanish Steps in Rome, and it flips over a bunch of times, and Ethan Hunt and Grace, who are handcuffed together, switch places in the car. So it goes from Ethan being the driver to Grace being the driver. And it's kind of stupid in my opinion. There's actually a few times in this movie where Ethan Hunt is portrayed kind of stupidly. And it's just like really off character. It doesn't make sense. Ethan Hunt has always been a very together spy, very serious spy, maybe lighthearted at times, but certainly not goofy. That just did not sit well with me. Overall, despite the faults, the overly long length of the movie, the exposition heavy, some stupidness on the part of Ethan, this is a good movie, and it's definitely worth seeing in the theater. This is the type of movie that you need to see the spectacle of, be it a regular theater, an IMAX theater. It's much more enjoyable in a theater and not, say, sitting at home on a computer screen in a completely hypothetical situation.
It's just a hypothetical.
So I hope you do go to see it. It's definitely worth it. It was an expensive movie. Hopefully it'll earn back its money because it's definitely worth it. And it definitely sets up, hopefully, what's going to be a good sequel and finale, I think finale to the Mission Impossible series. That all being said, please, any questions, comments, or witticisms down below, click the like button. It's right there. Click it. It's fun. Do it. It's nice. Click the subscribe button. That's also fun. Share it with your friends. I'll see you later.